Hey everybody, and welcome back again to Movie Mondays. Monday that could be possibly the worst day of the week, right? But it makes it just a little bit better because we're talking awesome movies here on the ZMAM show. Today we are talking about the movie Overlord, okay? So this is where World War II meets the Undead, if you will. This movie came out in November of 2018. It was also in relation to the production company Bad Robot from J.J. Abrams, which I know there's not a lot of J.J. Abrams lovers out there, but all the same, we knew at least the movie was going to look legit in its final presence. So it took me a while to finally watch this one. I don't know why, because, I mean, the premise is awesome. I love World War II movies. I mean, any World War pretty much movies are just awesome. And they don't always have to be accurate, too, but it kind of helps. This one is a bit fictional, but it does tie into the whole Overlord mission, where all the American allies were basically coming in to attack Normandy. One of the hugest operations to ever hit land, air, and sea, right? So this is based around a character named Boyce. And he is a private just in the army, or I should say the paratroopers, okay? So he's on the planes, and they're flying in over Normandy, and they're going to get dropped in behind enemy lines. His team has a mission to where they have to blow up this, I think it was like a radio tower on top of a church of some sort. So along the plane ride, you get a little bit of a chance to get to know some of the characters, which include your standard stereotypes, you know, the really angry character, you got the one who's got all the morals character, you got the random photographer guy who's probably has no business being on this mission, but he's going along for the ride too. And mind you, I'm going to keep this fairly spoiler-free as we go through just a piece of this, but what I want to talk about this movie was, it looked very well done, okay? So those airplanes, I just want to say, it hits you right out of the front gates with action. So all the barrage fire coming from all the land units in Germany and so forth, within France, they were just nailing the hell out of these planes, and it was just a very intense scene, just seeing all the fire as it's you know, tearing up people inside the plane. You see the other planes around. Everything looked fabulous, okay? And then it just only continues as they finally land and the story starts to unfold. So this one is a little bit of I don't know, it's got that thriller aspect. It's definitely got some horror in it too, along with that action and kind of suspense. It's just kind of a thrill ride overall. I have a buddy who does a podcast, and his name is Jeremy, and they're part of the Bombcast. And in fact, I'll try and put a link, and I've never mentioned them before, but I need to. He mentioned that, you know, it's not going to win any awards, but it was definitely quite a ride, you know, and an adventure. And I agree with him. It was. And I actually ended up watching this movie twice because I kind of wanted to give it another shot because, I don't know, the first time I ran through it, I don't know if I was fully sold on it as well, but after watching it a second time, I started to respect it more for some of the things that were in there, especially once you start figuring out the storyline and what's really happening. Now, I won't say that there's an actual villain. There is kind of a villain. It's supposed to be this guy named Waffner, I guess, and he's obviously a German general. I don't know if he's a general, but probably a major, some high lieutenant, probably that's kind of taking care of this bunker area around this small town in France. And so basically our few survivors from the plane get in there and they have their job to do. So they get in, they try to make their way in, and as they do, they start finding out that there's a Nazi lab down there and they're doing experiments. Except they're not doing the experiments on, you know, Jewish peoples and so forth like we've all been taught over the years. They're doing experiments on the dead to basically create some kind of super soldier. The one that will last for 1,000-year Reich, I guess, as Hitler wanted to do. Fucking nut job. But anyways, this is what the Nazis are up to, and so we find our Americans are just kind of they're kind of in the middle of this plot right here as they're trying to complete their mission. They meet a few other people that they kind of get tied into, and they start having feelings for, and things just start getting really crazy. And I'll tell you, if anything, this movie, once the first, let's just say, person is kind of brought back or whatever, I'll leave it at that, it gets super intense. I mean, it was just, they did some really cool things with the special effects, and it looked legit. You didn't feel like they were overdoing it. So they kept practical where they could and did special effects to fill in the rest. And so if you're looking for a decent Like I said, World War II kind of cross between that and the Undead, bringing the dead back to life to make these super soldiers and all this other good stuff. I would definitely check out this movie. It was a fun thrill ride. I think overall I would get, so this one's holding about a 6.8 on IMDb. Remember, I like to use IMDb, and anything usually over a 5 is definitely worth watching when you're looking at IMDb standards. But from the users, it's about 6.8. I would give this actually a full point higher. A minimum, probably around a 7.8. Just because the visuals were awesome, the sound was amazing, the score was decent. I mean, just for what it was. But I gotta admit, when one of the main guys, he's the demo expert guy, his name's Ford, and he uses a Thompson, okay? And it's just been a long time since I've seen the Thompson in action, and when he was using it, everything just looked spot on to the World War II standards, and the sound effects and the way the troops were dropping and getting nailed and so forth, very, very cool. I do believe that the acting could have been better in some places. I mean, again, I don't want to dog the movie too much. It was still a very wonderful movie to watch and see these guys. I think most of the actors, I'm not saying they're no-name actors. They definitely were some higher ones, and you'll have to take a look. I don't know all these guys, but like Wyatt Russell, he played the Ford guy. Is it Jovan Adepo? He plays Boyce. I probably butchered that name, but yeah, I mean, these aren't some of the main names that I'm used to seeing very often. However, Euron Greyjoy, so the guy who plays as him, which his name is, of course, I'm not even going to try that one. Anyways, you know who he is because he's on Game of Thrones, so he's the evil uncle who's basically terrorizing Theon and his sister. So anyways, he was in it. Of course, he was all cleaned up, and he plays the villain, and he did a pretty solid job. So he plays a pretty good bad guy overall, and I was really liking what I was seeing from him. So again, guys, if you get a chance to see it, Overlord, I know we're here in 2019, but it didn't come out too long ago, so it's definitely relevant. It's definitely worth watching. About an hour and 50-minute movie, so get ready for that. So, all right, so that's going to tie up our Movie Mondays for right now. I definitely have some other movies I want to start getting to, and I'm going to start racking them out here because with doing the Walking Dead videos on Sunday night, it's kind of hard to get a back-to-back video out on Monday as well. So I'm going to do a better job getting those to you guys. Hope you enjoying the show. Make sure to like and subscribe, and we are going to catch you at the next Movie Monday. Adios.